Hello and welcome to episode 122 of the Boot Nerds podcast. JayMike, what's going on?
Things are good in Denmark, my friend. It's, business as usual. New boots coming out. Cool. Love that. Weather's getting worse, so it's almost like Canada, How are things over with you?
Very, very rainy over here as well.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Can't really escape the wetness. I went golfing the other day.
Okay.
And the course was way too wet. And we were told to avoid the fourth hole. And we're like, why? We're already kind of wet. Can't be that bad. Then we decided to tread through what was probably like 1.5 feet deep water.
Okay.
Such a mistake. We definitely should have listened to instructions, but it was pretty fun nonetheless.
Okay, so note to self: always listen to like the field crews introductions whenever you go, unless you want to get absolutely soaked. I just have a thing. I don't know if it's the same for you, but I have a feeling that today we were supposed to go out and shoot, and last week when we had a day we had to shoot that day, right? So we went out and it was absolutely pissing down. Wasn't stopping anything. So we go out today. We had to shoot today. And it's just pouring down. The week has been amazing, high temperatures, sunshine, all the lot. But today, it's just raining like we haven't seen for freaking months. So anyways, yeah, it's Canada over here.
That's no fun. Recording videos in the rain, I can't imagine that is a good time.
I mean, you get used to it, but yeah, it's always better when it's sunny. Let's put it that way. So now we can look forward to more and more of this for the next, let's say, 6 months over here in Denmark. So that's lovely. Thank you, world. But apart from that, complaining over the weather, I guess we do that in every episode. Today, Josh, we are going to talk about something that we actually also touched upon in the latest episode. And as some people in the comment section made us aware of, apparently YouTube did some shenanigans and cut us off before we finished. So that sucked. So we're going to touch on the whole FG, AG topic today, and especially on the topic of FGAG stop patterns. So, the whole combo stop pattern and why we think that it might be a little bit of a silly thing. Because does it really make sense to have FGAG stud patterns after all?
Long answer, maybe. Short answer, no. There's a reason why it's a podcast topic. I think there's a lot to talk about here.
Exactly. So if we rewind a little bit, let's talk about why you have different outsoles in the first place. Because back in the day, you just had one type of studs, and they were all the way back. They were wooden studs that had been nailed onto the outsole, right? And then things changed, and then they started making molded studs, making these FG boots for firm natural pitches, which I guess is considered today the should we say the normal outsole that most boots are sold with. You have your SG outsoles, which are made for these really soft, muddy pitches that I guess a lot of people playing professionally and also playing, especially in the UK, I guess where it rains all the time, they maybe see them as the default pair of or default outsole to use, right? And then in the last, I want to say 10, 12, 15 years maybe, we've seen the rise of artificial grass, which is this synthetic carpet of synthetic grass straws and this rubber or what is that you call that?
The pellets.
Pellets, yeah. But the rubber pellets, it can also be different materials, but it's usually rubber, making up as the ground, right? And so, wearing FG boots, the brands found out, wasn't optimal on AG pitches. So they decided to introduce a new type of outsole called AG. Because they're genius. And that's really where people, things started to snap for some people because then they needed a pair of normal boots, FG boots, because they played on grass. They maybe needed some SGs for when it was wet. And now they also needed AGs. So 3 pairs of boots for just to play, right? And then I think was it 2008 15 or was it 16? I think it was it for the refresh or was it in 16 with the Pure Control that Adidas decided, you know what, let's just make one tooling. FGAG, you can use it on both of them. All is good.
I think that was 15 when they did the rebrand.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing was that the reason that it was a good idea before they did all that to have AG specific boots was that you're looking after your body, you minimizes the risk of injury, but also that if you use FG boots on artificial pitches, they wear down quicker and they simply fall apart quicker. There's the risk of that. So you actually lose your warranty if you use your FG boots on artificial pitches. And that was a way for the brands to just say to people, yo, come and buy our boots because you can wear them on FG, you can wear them on AG, you don't lose your warranty. It's all good. And then, they made those boots. They started out with the A's, which was really, I guess, multi-ground AG friendly because it had 46 studs, something like that.
One of the truest, if we're going to categorize something as FGAG, I think that was legitimately viable design.
Yes. Then we also had the X15, which was definitely not FGAG. It had blades and all that stuff. It was an FG plate that was called FGAG. Yeah. For the sake of, I guess, warranty.
Yeah, and the same thing went for the Messi model as well, which was Messi.
Exactly.
15.
And it's slightly better, I would say, but still, yeah.
My issue with that whole rebranding of the stud pattern is it simply was that when it came to the Messi boot and the X boot, because while the stud patterns on the sole plates were technically all new from the F50s and the Predators and the Adi Pures that they were replacing, if you looked at the layout of the actual studs themselves, it was exactly the same as what was previously branded as FG and what had been branded as FG from Adidas for years up until that point. So all of a sudden, they just branded it as FGAG. That made absolutely no sense. Jay is digging if you're listening right now.
I just found the A's as well. You can see there's a lot of studs here, right? And I think back when I counted, it was 42 or 46 or something ridiculous for an FG pair of boots. So definitely a true FGAG here. But yeah, you're right. And that's a little bit of the funny thing. So the brands are basically telling you, okay, you can use this. This is okay to use on FG and AG pitches, which would lead some people to probably believe that it's cool for the warranty, but it's also cool for my body. And I actually think that I'm not going to accuse the brands of ignoring their responsibilities here, but maybe they shouldn't have done that because, I mean, from an injury prevention point of view, I'm just bringing up the Puma Ultra 1.3 here, which is FGAG, and there's no hate towards Puma here, but I think this is the only model left of the FGAG boots, that and the Future Z. So, to me, this is an FG boot, period. This is an FG boot. These are FG studs because they are hella long and they are bladed and they are very aggressive, right? If you go out to an artificial pitch with these, they will dig into the ground. They will give you loads of traction. And if you make a wrong move, these are not designed to give you that rotational maneuverability and to let go of the ground and thus release some pressure on your joints and your knees. Because they have traction. That's the way they're shaped. That's because, they're long. They dig into the ground. And I think, Adidas and Puma maybe should have been a little bit clearer in saying you can use them. It doesn't void your warranty, but just keep in mind that these are designed for FG and not made to be injury preventing or safe for AG pitches. And I realize they got to sell boots and all that stuff. But it's just it felt like a little bit of a gray area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, we talk about marketing on the podcast perhaps more than we need to, but there still is a lot of people out there that kind of just buy into whatever big brands want to tell them. And I don't really have a problem with you believing that a speed boot's going to make you quicker, or that if you buy a Predator, you're going to have a better touch. There are certain things about these boots that make them feel different. And if that feel translates to you having more confidence in a certain attribute that you have in your game, by all means, buy into the marketing. I don't have a problem with that. It's not hurting you in any way. But when you're talking about a stud pattern that is being marketed for use on a surface that it's really shouldn't be used on, that's a level of deception that is, again, compromising your own personal safety for the sake of selling more products. And I've never agreed with it. I still don't agree with it. Like, to me, how does it make any sense to look at that Puma Ultra stud pattern and then look at what is on offer from Adidas with the Speedflow and their FG stud pattern, and Nike with the Mercurial stud pattern? How are those FG boots, but these are FG AG? It doesn't really make any sense at all.
But these are, I mean, more or less equally aggressive, right? This is an FG boot, this is an FG AG boot, on paper at least. But I mean, if you close your eyes and you didn't have the little FG AG writing on it, I think 99.9% of people out there would say, that's an FG pair of boots, you probably shouldn't use it on AG. And that's kind of the thing. Now, the funny thing is that the Puma actually do make what I would consider a really good and very, safe tooling for AG pitches. They call this MG for multi-ground, which, because, I mean, you can also technically use it if you play on like dirt, gravel pitches and stuff. I don't know if there are any left, but I guess also for a really bad 3D, go home, Jay. 3G pitches, the early ones. It's just like, if you want safe, go get these. The studs aren't long. There's lots of them. It's just, it makes sense, right?
And then look, Jay, here's the thing with that specific stud pattern. And the argument that I think most people are going to make is availability. And there are certain retailers, Unisport being one of the big ones, that really carries everything. So you have all of those options. But I understand the argument of, I live on the other side of the world and I don't want to pay the international shipping and I don't want to pay the duties and taxes that are attributed with that. It really is shame on the brands. And I don't want to blame retailers because I'm not even sure that it's offered to all of them. But shame on the brands for not making this available to everybody, given the prevalency, is that the right word to use here?
Yeah.
Of artificial grass pitches.
But dude, this was not the thing we agreed to talk about. We talked about, talking up Unisport and saying, we ship worldwide and, just go and buy from Unisport all your boots in the future, and shameless plug and all that stuff. But you're right. Not every country is lucky, or every region for that matter is lucky to have a lot of retailers. Like we see where I am in Europe, and, even with you guys over there, I know you've made a lot of videos about how AG boots are really difficult to get your hands on in North America, which is ridiculous because, as far as I know, you play a lot on AG pitches over there, right?
It makes absolutely no sense.
I mean, that should be the default outsole for North America.
It really should be.
In my book. And I mean, it also brings me to this. As you can see, I've used it quite a lot. I really like it. Nike's, and this is just their AG outsole, right? Let's remember that. They also had their AG Pros, which I think was probably what, if there should ever have been an FG AG outsole, it should have been that. Of course, we can talk about this, which was, in my opinion, better on AG than it was on FG. That's a different story. But let me find it. Keep talking.
Yeah. Well, what I've never understood, especially when it comes to Nike, because they've always offered an AG stud pattern, not necessarily in every single colorway, but it seems to be pretty common that whenever a US-based retailer ends up with AG Nike boots in their inventory, they sell through quicker than any of the equivalent FG models. So I think that it doesn't really make any sense for a brand like Nike to not make AG available as regularly as they possibly can, because I've yet to see any AG Nike boots, high end or low end, sitting on shelves for a significant period of time.
Yes. And there's probably a reason for that. But anyways, AG Pro, back when Neymar was with Nike, he used it because it was a little bit less aggressive than the normal FG tooling. And is this a good AG outsole? I'm gonna say I think it's decent, but in my opinion, it's not as good as the new fully dedicated AG outsole on the Vapor 14. And I also feel like this is a little bit. And you know, I'm not a physicist or a physician or, you know, physiologist or whatever you call that. I don't study the body, but to me, these feel a little bit safer because they release from the ground a little bit quicker. They don't bite as much as the AG Pros do.
Yeah, it's certainly the new AG stud pattern is certainly more specialized than what it used to be.
Exactly. But if we are talking about a combination where you get the best from both worlds, this is pretty much the optimal thing for me. And then on the other hand, does it make sense? Like, does it, at the end of the day, make sense to do an FGAG outsole?
I think for the most part, it does not. Especially if you're talking about top-end football boots. Because I think with a high-end boot, part of what you spend the money for is to have the best. That's why you are forking out the cash. And if you're getting an FGAG stud pattern, you are compromising in some way the performance of that boot on one surface. And when I say compromising performance, I think that's a tricky thing to say, especially when you're talking about FGAG stud patterns, because artificial grass will grip to anything.
Yes.
Like you are not going to have an issue with traction if there are studs on the bottom of your feet on an AG surface. That will provide just as much grip as just about anything else.
Honestly, I'm having a great time wearing these whenever I do wear them. Puma MG outsole on artificial grass. They're great.
Yeah,
like, I don't need any more traction.
All you need.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's this concept of too much traction is dangerous that I think a lot of people need to understand, because it's pretty common practice over here, and I'm sure you see plenty of it in Europe as well. You play on an AG pitch, and 95% of players are just wearing FG stud patterns. You'll even get the odd guy wearing a soft ground stud pattern, which always blows my mind to see.
Yeah.
But this is common practice because this is the Boot Nerds podcast. We get a bunch of you guys that watch these episodes and listen to us ramble on about football boots, but that is not the average consumer. They kind of just go to the store or go online and pick whatever looks cool to them, not really concerning themselves that much about specifics like stud patterns. They might not even know what an AG stud pattern is.
Probably not, no.
But for me, there is assumed risk in almost anything you do in life, but when it comes to sports, I want to have fun, but I also don't want to leave in crutches. I want to set up my equipment in such a way, even if it means spending a little bit more money, where I am putting myself in a position to be at the least risk of suffering an injury. Yeah. I just think, and when you're talking about these AG specific injuries, it's usually not I twisted my ankle or I have a little bit of I have a slight problem. It's usually your knee is going to require surgery after this injury.
Tore my meniscus. And look, you're completely right. I usually look at it this way and think of artificial dedicated AG outsoles as racing a bike without or with a helmet, right? So racing a bike with without a helmet is like wearing FG on artificial grass, because you can definitely race your bike and you can win the race without a helmet. And, 99.9% of the time, it's going to be good. But the problem is that when you take a fall and you crash, you wish you wore that helmet. Wow, it's called a hjelm in Danish. You wish you wore that helmet, huh? And it's the same thing with artificial grass, because you can wear these on artificial grass, and to most people, knock on wood, it's not going to be a problem. And they're going to feel great, and, lots of traction, and everything works, and they only have to buy one pair of boots. Great stuff. But to those people who have had injuries, I think if they wore FG boots, they would probably all wish that they had heard the Boot Nerds podcast and that they had bought those AG pair of boots, because when you get unlucky, when you are unlucky, and you get that nasty twist to your knee. These are not necessarily going to save you, but they will definitely decrease the risk of causing major damage. So just like, the helmet on the bike isn't going to necessarily save you, it's just going to minimize the risk. It's going to take a lot of the impact between you and the ground. I know it's not, exactly one-to-one. Do I make sense here? No,
you make total sense. And like, I think there's going to be some people that look at this from the mentality of, oh, you're afraid. That's like a sign of weakness. It's thinking in such a way where you're going to suffer an injury. And I really don't view stud patterns as like this macho thing. Like, I don't think that, oh, wow, that guy's tough. He's wearing soft ground boots on artificial grass. No, he really doesn't care. That's not what I'm saying. And we're not telling you to like strap on the biggest shin guards possible because you don't want to get kicked in the leg or something like that. This is something that is
walk.
Yeah, this is like a big thing. And you know what? It's one thing to do this as an adult. Like both of us, if we suffered a career-ending injury, that would suck. It would suck to not be able to play, or at least play to the same level that you're capable of at this point in your life.
Sure.
I hate seeing somebody that's 11, 12 years old going out there and suffering just a horrible knee or hip injury. And at such a young age, this is a problem now for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Like, that's just terrible to see. And again, I hate that the brands don't make this stuff more readily available. I think we talk about deceptive marketing. I feel like FGAG is the most deceptive in a harmful way. And I don't like seeing it. And there's only so much we can do. This is basically like a PSA of a podcast. But if you're watching this and you play on artificial grass regularly, I can't recommend enough having an AG specific boot. Even wearing a turf boot, is just, look. I know you don't get the bite necessarily, but
it's gonna be
it could really save you in the end.
And look, then you have these idiots on YouTube going out testing new FG boots, playing on artificial pitches. What's up with that? Why, get down from your holy horse? Why, Jay? And to some extent, I think you've also worn FG on AG in your videos, Josh, right? Why do you do it? Here's the thing. Often, these, for instance, to my knowledge, don't come in AG boots. And when it is cold and it's winter and pitches are closed in Denmark, it's either the option of, shooting FG boots on AG pitches, because that's what's open, or it's not shooting at all. And the other thing is that when you shoot video, you have a bit more control over your movements, so you don't get into all these unexpected movements that is typically what cause injuries. And then also, I'm not going to say I'm not going to get injured, but I know what I'm doing, and I also know what I shouldn't be doing in these. So definitely, yes, there is a risk. So in other words, you should do what I say you should do, not what I do.
Mm-hmm. And look, the same thing goes for
but I understand the people who are like, you say one thing and then you do another thing in your videos. Why does that make sense? And it doesn't make sense. But, the alternative is to not make any videos, and I don't think you guys will want that either.
And look, I think it's different. The intensity level and what you're doing when you're making a playtest video is on your own.
Yeah.
Because again, you're eliminating the variable of two guys chasing a ball, fighting for a ball, bumping into each other, pushing, shoving. Like that's a completely different type of movement, and you're going to respond completely different than if you're just doing some drills through cones or taking some shots on your own.
Sure.
We're not saying that if you wear some FG boots on an AG pitch while you're just going for a kickabout on your own, that you're going to spontaneously combust.
No.
That's not going to happen here, right? But when you're talking about playing in a match and even practicing with other players where things are going to get a little bit physical and people are bumping into each other, I think you are taking on significant risk by wearing a stud pattern on a surface that it was not intended for, regardless of how the brand wants to market it. Because again, FGAG, aside from, I think that ACE 15.1 is a pretty good example. I think the previous AG Pro stud patterns from Nike have been pretty dual purpose in terms of their functionality, but the vast majority of FGAG stud patterns are FG stud patterns that the brand is saying you can also wear on AG, and we're not going to punish you when it comes to warranty. It's not you can wear it on AG because it's safe.
Yes. 1,000 times yes. So I guess what I think we really wanted with this episode was to send out the message that if you do play regularly on AG, I would much rather advise you to go out and buy a pair of dedicated AG boots like the Speedflow 0.1s here, the Vapor 14 AGs, or, you know, if you play mostly on AG, the multi-ground boots from Puma. Because you can wear these on natural grass pitches. They're not going to have as much bite, but, you know, Neymar wore them for a good chunk of time without, you know, okay, he always falls over, but, you know, without falling over excessively, right? That was for you. I was expecting more laughter there.
Appreciate that.
Anyways, but you can definitely wear them on FG, and that's not going to cause you any harm. So if you play and you can only afford one pair of boots, get a dedicated AG pair of boots. That's like the most sincere recommendation I think I'm ever gonna give on YouTube. Seriously, think about it.
Mm-hmm. We make videos on equipment where 99% of it you realistically do not need. It's new, it's cool, we all want it, but you probably don't need it most of the time.
Of course, you need it all the time.
This is one of those things.
All the new stuff, you need all the latest stuff, all the most expensive stuff, and you need it from one place only, and that's...
No, there's only two things that you realistically need. If you play on artificial grass, you definitely need AG boots, and if you're going to be wearing any football boots at all, you should be wearing them with pure grip socks. That's a given. You have those two things, you're pretty much set for life.
This is turning into the wildest shameless plug video of...
It's too many plugs.
Yeah,
okay, but I think we've gotten our point across,
yes.
Jay.
And also, I think to Joe Medlin, whose question we got cut off in last time, I've written a reply to you as well in the comments, but just to, you know, make it very, very clear, make sure that if you have to order from Europe, from unisportstore.com, or wherever you can find AG boots, for the sake of your son and his knees, and his growth and all that stuff, get AGs. Seriously. Yeah.
Well worth it.
Okay, other questions here. We have one from Boredom.
Before we get on, though, if you do have any questions regarding anything we talked about today or for future episodes of the Boot Nerds podcast, we always answer questions towards the end. Leave your questions down below in the comment section, please and thank you.
I totally got tunnel vision there, just moving on to questions. Thank you for that one. Boredom says, in my opinion, Nike should at least make the materials different by making the Superfly out of Flyknit, like it was before, and because they have to come out with a new Vaporposit material, use that on the Vapor. Problem slightly solved. And I think that makes some sort of sense. I think we've actually even discussed that very thing in a previous version of the podcast.
I feel like we both talked about that when the latest generation
Superfly
of materials came out.
Unique and special and top of the line and everything that, you know, it should be more than the Vapor or different than the Vapor. You know, it should be the vessel of innovation, right? And now it's just a Vapor with a color. So yeah, we totally agree.
Yeah, and calling it Vaporposit, like, come on. You could have picked any other name and then added posit to the end, but you picked Vapor.
Flipping big hint there that the Vapor is like the main thing and the Superfly is just a side note that, oh yeah, we also need to, color, cool, let's roll with it. It's Friday, let's go drink some beers. I'm sure it's not how it works in Nike, but yeah. Peter Bai, can there be an episode of all the SL boots in history from every brand? Has this topic already been discussed? I can't remember, neither can I, although I've listened to every single episode, so we haven't done it, and I guess it's a lot of boots to talk about, but...
It is a lot of boots, but I really like that idea.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because there's been, I feel like when you're talking about SL boots, there have been some incredible ones, but I think the most of them have been like, why?
Look, I actually think that the two of the boots that I've claimed to be my all-time favorite boots have been SLs.
SLs, okay.
So, yeah, and I think the boot currently holding, you know, at least the top 3 spot of best boots ever is an SL.
Oh, wow, okay. Huh? I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but there's definitely a couple SL models that I was a really big fan of.
Sure. We got
That's
one
a good
here.
idea.
We'll definitely take a look at that. It requires a little bit of digging out through the
the archives.
750 pairs of, yeah. Oh yeah, good luck with that, Josh. At least mine are like out of the box shoes. Just like
No, I'm kind of organized right now. It's a rare time for me.
I do not believe that for 1 second, my man. 1 second. I'm sorry, but do not believe that. Flacco's cleat reviews. Why was the episode cut off like that? Because YouTube hates us, and well, it sucked. I don't know what happened. Mohandes Radford Jr., that is an epic name, by the way. I really enjoyed Adidas' Hybrid Touch and Nike's Kangalite synthetics. I actually prefer them to knitted uppers, and I've been wondering why Nike and Adidas haven't brought the materials back as an option to the Jumbo Legend and the Copa Sense models. Why California's kangaroo leather ban and the huge market share that synthetics have gained, I think it should be an interesting proposition. I would definitely pick up a Kangalite Jumbo Legend 9. Thoughts? 2 girls over drinks and go.
Okay, a couple things. While California is a gigantic market, I don't think brands are going to plan their entire global strategy based on a ban of a material in one specific state in one country.
Correct.
I also think that this is very much a cost thing for a lot of brands, where I think textiles are far less expensive than producing proprietary synthetic materials and or buying proprietary synthetic materials from other companies.
Probably also correct. And then I think it's also a matter of sending a signal of moving on. Simply that they're not stuck in the past. I mean, if they're still, of course, you can have like Kangalite 9.0, right? And you know, this is the latest 2021 generation. But I think you're right in saying that it is a matter of moving with the times and you know, sending that signal as well. But definitely, you know, would it be interesting to have like a California option with Hybrid Touch or Kangalite? Definitely. Would it be even more interesting to have like, say, let's say that the Jumbo Legend Pro was not calf leather, but Hybrid Touch. Or that there was a Pro calf and there was a Pro HT. Or we could call it calf and we could call it Cali. Hey, I'll take 10%. Someone please hire me from that now. I mean, I could definitely see that it's possible, but then again, it's adding more products to the line and it might obscure the, you know, or make it a little bit easy to understand for the random viewer out there. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting, and I would love to see it back on maybe even the 0.3, the P3 price points. That would be very interesting. Instead of having like some honestly crap leather, why not? Why not?
Yeah, look, I think they're more than capable of making really incredible synthetic boots at this point in time. They just seem to be unmotivated by it. And I think in terms of wow factor, it's difficult for brands to make something look exciting. Leather always has its appeal because there's always going to be people that like leather football boots. But I think if you look at the landscape
honest, this is sexier.
That's what I'm saying. You look at a Puma Ultra, you look at a Mercurial, you look at these speed flows, these semi-translucent uppers where you can see all these different layers, and it's visual tech.
Yeah.
I think that's very difficult to do with a solid synthetic material.
Look at the Mizuno Merlin Neo. When they made the betas and beta 2s and went into the beta 3s, they incorporated a much more modern looking midfoot, right? And they look a lot sexier for it. Imagine if they had a full synthetic boot like the Ultras. I think they would sell a lot more. Like if it was full synthetic, you know, that silhouette, boom, take my money.
And you know what, Jay? Mizuno is a good example here because I think we look at the Rebula and design and colorways, that's all down to interpretation, but you have that synthetic leather material through the midfoot. And I think that's part of the reason why that football boot is, in a lot of people's eyes, kind of unattractive, kind of boring. It's just
really
there's not much going on.
Because I think you know, I like leather more than I like synthetic leather. But listen, English is a very difficult language. But this synthetic leather, I actually think it's very, very high quality. And I imagine that,
good.
You know, if they slap this on, let's say, the pros or the elite, most people wouldn't realize. I'm at that point where I wouldn't mind. But you're right, the fact that it looks like leather makes people believe that it's an old school.
Yeah, and I really do feel like I think it circles back to cost. And I think the boot to blame for all of this right now is the Hypervenom Phantom 1. Because I think that was an upper that Nike did an incredible job in developing. It felt unlike anything else.
Yep.
And I think it was just significantly cheaper for them to produce.
It was mesh and it was silicone and that was it. And everyone won. And they discontinued it and made that train wreck of That's a completely other story. We've bitched enough about that. There's another question from Tommy Unwin. What would be the best value for money between the Adidas X Speed Flow 0.1 and the Puma Ultra 1.3? They're both the same price here in the UK.
I feel like they're not, but...
I mean, at least in Europe, mainland Europe?
Maybe one's on sale or something like that.
Okay. I mean, the Ultras are still cheaper. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay, but regardless, I don't think one's...
Let's play the game that they are equal price, right?
Okay, let's play that game. And I already know what your answer is, and I think you already know what mine is.
Yeah.
I prefer the Ultra over the Speed Flow, although I think both of them are phenomenal. I think those would probably be my top... I like the Speed Flow Plus, but if I'm picking a speed boot with laces, I think I'd be picking between those two models.
Yeah.
But I think you should pick based on what you are looking for. If you want something that's lighter, a little bit slimmer, arguably a little bit thinner as well, maybe go for the Ultra.
Yeah.
If you want something that's maybe a little more comfortable, a little more pliable with the upper, has, I think, a slightly more technically impressive sole plate, go for the Speed Flow.
It's so hard to choose. I mean, I'm basically going for the Speed Flows because the toe box is a little bit more pointy, and to me, the upper is a little bit more pliable. It's a little softer. And of course, they have Carbitex. I got the question the other day, the Ultra soles are really good, right? But they don't have Carbitex. This is a fantastic outsole. I mean, without Carbitex, I would probably say this is one of the snappiest in the game, right? And it is. But I don't really care. I mean, it's such fine margins. Personally, yeah, I'm Speed Flow. But you're not going to go wrong with the Ultras either. It's that close.
No, they're both really good.
Yeah. Yeah. One final question then. From Nico. No. Gemma Fitzpatrick. Two girls over drinks. What is your favorite colorway ever from any brand?
God.
Two girls over drinks. God. You have to answer.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say what popped in my head, and it's completely random.
Yep.
I'm sure if you asked me this question every single day for a year,
yep.
I'd have a different thing pop in my head. But
that's an interesting.
Immediately, what I first thought of was a Tiempo Legend 2 in the white colorway with the black outline for the swoosh. That's what I thought of for some reason. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That's what I thought of. And then I also just thought of the Euro.
Wait, you're not taking the piss.
The Euro Vapor 4 I also thought of.
Okay.
I love those.
Sorry. I mean, fair enough. I just thought that Tiempo Legend 2 is like wholly unspectacular. Anyways, I thought about a lot of boots when I saw this, and obviously I'm cheating a little bit because I see the questions beforehand, so I have some time to prepare, right? My very, very first boot that popped into my head, apart from the boots that I have had a hand in designing, obviously, because that's not cool. But that's the Vapor 11 BHM. I think that it's absolutely beautiful. Black with those cool colors, the wavy colors. Really, really perfect. Then there was that X19 Plus in navy, black and gold.
You really like that one, eh? That's a big one for you.
Oh, yes. Huh? That looks
really like that one. I'm not crazy about that one. It's nice. But like I would never even think of that.
Right.
I'm also, you know what also was a beautiful football boot was the white with the blue swoosh Vapor 4. That was such a pretty boot.
Yes. Yeah, but in the best ever? Nah, man.
This is such a tough one. I also love launch colorway of Vapor 3. I think that's such a clean design.
Sure.
The white with the gold heel, the small black Nike swoosh. Loved how that looked. Oh, this is I dislike this question.
Those Pogba Pred 18s, you know, the gun medals, they were also wicked.
Those were nice.
Yeah. No, you know, I think I'm going to go with the Vapor 11 BHMs. Obviously, the Puma Ultra 1.1, the drips, and the F50 Memory Lane Addy Zeros, and something else. You know.
There's a Puma 1 in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, City Pack, of course. You know, City Pack is very special to me, but, I mean, let's be honest, it's not the best looking colorway ever. It's cool if you know me and all that stuff, good. But yeah, but you also know me. And you're a nice guy, so you're Canadian. You can't say anything bad about, you know.
Okay, that's fair.
Vapor 11.
But I'm sticking with my weird answers.
Fair enough. I respect you for that. Sticking with your watch. I'm taking anyways, last question here. Most durable recommendations. I just broke my Puma King Platinums after 3 weeks of use, and I need something that will last but perform too. I play in AG, and some people told me leather boots aren't the best option there. I don't know how true that is, and that is probably true. Leather have a tendency to break a little bit quicker on AG pitches unless you wear Mizuno, because at least I haven't had any durability issues. What I would do, and Josh, you can jump in. Vapors, I know most people are probably going to laugh and say, vapors, are they durable? But I've yet to see, you know, yes, they get dirty. But I mean, I haven't seen any durability issues on my Vapor 14s. And I've worn almost only AG versions of them. So...
Yeah, and I think if you are, he did mention he plays on AG, definitely would recommend an AG version of whatever you're going for, because that's also going to help out in terms of durability. But you're right. I think this current generation of Mercurial, and honestly, even the last one, they've been pretty rock solid in terms of overall durability. I can't say I've seen very many pictures of broken pairs, and I haven't had any issues myself. I think anything Mizuno is always a safe bet. I feel like a Morelia
leather
is
on,
so bulletproof.
Yeah.
I know it's leather
on AG.
I guess.
I just don't like recommending if you play primarily on AG. I don't like recommending leather boots because it's just like sending them to the death. Really, it's just like cannon fodder. I think I'm gonna stick with my. Otherwise, you can of course. Nah, that's not anymore. Buy a pair
it's so hard.
New Balance Tequila 2s. It was rock solid. They never broke. They broke your foot, but you know
those are Crocs, and just add some studs.
You can wear them to nuclear war, and they will come out victorious. You will most likely die, but the boots will survive.
Oh man, that's so funny. Yeah. It's the cockroach of football.
It is the cockroach of football boots. And I think on that bombshell, it is time to end the Bootnerds podcast. We're not going to top that. That was the perfect end to the show. If you have any questions, like Josh said earlier, or comments to what we have said in this podcast, leave them in the comment section right down below. You can also go and, of course, buy all your AG boots via the link we're going to leave down below. It's going to be a completely shameless plug, but we're here for the greater good, so that's what we're going to do. And also, don't forget to make sure you subscribe to the Bootnerds podcast by clicking the white bubble in the middle of the screen. Go subscribe to Josh's channel right over there. Go subscribe to Unisport right over here. And with those words, I've been JayMike, and I proved this message. I hope to God we didn't get caught off by YouTube today.
Thanks for watching.
The cockroach of football boots, man. You said that, not me. You said that, not me. Absolutely perfect. Love it, man.